Now, let's move into a practical example. And I'm going to use one of the greatest melodies of all time. Barry Harris liked to use great phrases from Bud Powell, another piano player, or Chopin sometimes. I have him in the thumbnails because I love him. He's basically a jazz musician. He was doing all this stuff. Barry would take a phrase from Bud Powell or Chopin, and he would move it through every possible position in his scale of chords. So I'm going to show you an example of that using one of my favorite melodies. M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E. That's right. The jingle from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. So let's break apart what's in this melody. It goes up a third, then down one scale step, up a third, down a scale step, up a third, and then it goes up a third. Because remember, in our scale, it goes, so that's up a third. If we were using the typical major scale, that would just be up a scale step, and I'll show you in a little bit why that becomes problematic. Another way to look at this melody, which is going to make it so much easier for you to remember melodies, is since we have our on chord, the major 6 chord, and our off chord, the diminished chord, we can look at every note as either on, kind of resolved, or off, tension. So in this melody it goes on, off, off, on, off, on. So now let's take that and see where else we can play it in our scale. Well, first let's look on the next note of the F major 6 chord, right here, this A note. And the reason I'm not going to start on the second of the scale yet is because that inverts the resolution and tension in time. So we want to keep going on, off, off. So if we start here, we can go on, off, off. Right? So here's how it sounds moved up. So in the major scale, we would go up a third, down a step, up a third, down a step, up a third. Now let's listen to just the difference of those two parts. That's the major 6 diminished scale. Now this is the traditional major scale. Now what I want you to notice is this note, to me, that's just itching to go and resolve. What sounds more resolved to you, this or this? To me, that's restful. This is itching to resolve either way, because this is a diminished note and this is from our F major 6. In their major scale, it goes, and already we're kind of hanging on a tense note, as opposed to the original melody goes hanging on a really restful note. All right, so let's go to the next position, the 5th. It'll sound like this. And then from the 6th here, it'll sound like this. Okay, now let's look what happens when we start on one of the off notes from the diminished chord. It'll sound like this. And now notice how instead of landing on our resolution like most melodies do, we're landing on this note, which to me wants to go resolve home or resolve up. So let's try running the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse jingle up through every position, and they're going to flow nicely back into each other. So it'll go like this. Let me see if I could do this.